Good morning, church. In the book of Exodus, beginning in chapter 20, Moses places the law of God before the Jewish people as they prepare to enter the promised land. Today's first reading is a short passage from some of the law from Exodus chapter 22. Thus says the Lord, you shall not molest or oppress an alien, for you were once aliens yourselves in the land of Egypt. You shall not wrong any widow or orphan. If ever you wrong them and they cry out to me, I will hear their cry. My wrath will flare up and I will kill you with the sword. Then your own wives will be widows, and your children orphans. If you lend money to one of your poor neighbors, you shall not act like an extortioner towards him by demanding interest. If you take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, you shall return it before sunset. For this cloak of his is the only covering he has. What else has he to sleep in? If he cries out to me, I will hear him, for I am compassionate. All the great religions of the world, beginning with Hinduism in India 2,000 years before Christ, and a following today of 1.1 billion people. Then Buddhism 500 years before Christ, with another billion adherents in India. Then we have China's Confucianism and Taoism, another billion adherents. And then in the Middle East, we got the combined Judaism, Christianity, and Islam with a combined adherence of half the world. Now, history has witnessed formidable leaders from Genghis Khan to Hitler, but none of them has had a lasting impression on their followers. Only the great religions, with their call to live with compassion, have been a sustaining moral force for good. In the Christian gospel today, a Jewish lawyer from the Pharisaic side of Judaism asked Jesus which of the 613 laws given by Moses is the greatest. Since all are from God, could a claim be made that they're all equally important? He is hoping to draw Jesus into a debate. Jesus responds to him by saying that they're all summed up in the call to love God and be compassionate to your neighbor. I read it from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 22. When the Pharisees heard that Jesus had silenced the Sadducees, they gathered together, and one of them, a scholar of the law, tested him by asking, Teacher, which commandment in the law is the greatest? He said to him, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. The second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. The whole law and the prophets depend on these two commandments. In Jesus' lifetime, Pontius Pilate captured Barabbas and his followers for their violent rebellion against the Roman Empire. When he arrested Jesus and then executed him, he did not make an attack on Jesus' followers. He judged Jesus to be nonviolent and believed that once he was executed, his movement would cease to be a threat. Pontius Pilate was correct in his assessment of Jesus, but he was mistaken in his influence. Despite the non-violent Jesus calling his community to live with justice and compassion, his followers respond to him with dedication and a Christian movement that has lasted 2,000 years. Now, the United States has tried from the beginning of its empire building to separate religion and politics. It believed that the separation would help the nation to succeed and the people to prosper and to be happy. Now, we could question the wisdom of that decision. I listened to the final presidential debate last Thursday, and then listened to people's opinions on how the candidates fared. Depending on which station I tuned into or which question was proposed to be answered, I received a different opinion. None of the questions posed asked specifically about compassion. Now, in past presidential elections, I've observed the candidates, and posing my mental question of compassion, have drawn my conclusion and voted accordingly. Only half the time was I on the winning side. With my mental question on compassion, I drew my conclusion on Thursday's debate, and to me there was a definite winner. I will know in 9 days if my vote is successful. If you have not yet voted, is the issue of compassion helping you in your decision making? God bless you.